DSPN, the Devlin Sports Podcast Network.
Steve Gordon joins us. He bleeds Mulu. He played over 100 games for Waikato, played for the Chiefs, played for the Highlanders, former All Black. And, mate, we got to get a Chiefs perspective on the Super Rugby final on Saturday night. 3 in a row now, 3 lost. What is it going to take to get this team over that hump?
Oh, stop it, matey. You know, look, we're hurting. We're hurting really bad. You know, we had the insult. They chucked our cowbells out of the stadium for a start, and that really rattled us because we thought they were sacrilege in New Zealand rugby. But no, in all seriousness, you've got to take your hat off to the Crusaders. They played a stodgy Dow sort of style of footy and kicked us off the park. And they weaponised, their scrum, which they got so many penalties off at critical stages, and we just weren't good enough on the night. The best team won on the night. I don't think it was the best team, but I'm biased. So
well, it's a fair comment.
We're bitterly disappointed. I think and Rob Penny is a good bugger. He's a great guy, and it was great for him to get that redemption from sort of being last placed New Zealand team to winning it the very next year. But I really feel for Clayton and his team. They've been there or thereabouts. He's brought so many young fellas through the side over the last probably 5 years that he's been involved in the last 3 finals. Bitterly disappointed for him, but it's cold hard facts in the light of day, and in retrospect, we just weren't good enough on the night. We made too many unforced errors, gave away too many penalties. Their kick chase was outstanding. How they pressurised with it, weaponised that kick chase game. Ours was poor. They found grass, put us under pressure, trapped us. We didn't put enough pressure on our kicks and didn't get reward from them as they got from theirs. And yeah, they were good. They were tough. They were combative up front. It's one of the few times I've seen the Chiefs team this year being set on its ass a few times at scrum time and at rolling maul and the collision. So they were right up for it. Their last game in that stadium. And I think Robin and his team did a fantastic job of playing to their absolute strengths and eked out a win.
So, that's, as I said, 3 finals in a row. It's happened twice now where the Chiefs have beaten the Crusaders twice in the round robin and then lost in the final. And I suppose you could even go back to that Blues game, the quarterfinal this year, when the team that played during the round robin, that was so spectacular. And, Steve, it was only 6 weeks ago that the Chiefs went down to Christchurch, blanked them in the second half. We're down 19-3 and came back and won that game 35-19. So where's that side gone?
I think hasn't gone away. But the great thing about footy and the analysis that's involved in rugby now is that I think the Crusaders learned from it and learned a hell of a lot. And they had some players coming back in, and they realised what they were good at. And their kick chase game, their kick return was outstanding. They know that they have to play at the right end of the park, and then they set a game plan to do so. And probably just a little rewards. So those scrum penalties were massive for them. A couple of stages there, it was almost, I think it was 4 or 5 scrums in a row, and each one resulted in a penalty or a free kick to the Crusaders. And those little swings of momentum are massive. And they had to go their way, but they'd planned to do so. They ran Fletcher Newell because he was so dominant at scrum time just about for the whole 80 minutes. How good was he, mate?
Yeah, he played 80 minutes. I mean, you aren't allowed to play 80 minutes anymore. What are the sports scientists going to say, mate? You're not allowed to do that.
And
he got better as the game went on. He was stronger as the game went on.
He was so dominant. He's just a scrum machine, and the most unlikely looking athlete. But oh God, he was so effective, and to dish up a pretty good Chiefs forward pack like he did. And then they had George Bauer come on as well, who's former All Black, and I don't think he's given up hope of becoming an All Black again, George. He was outstanding as well. And that's a very good Chiefs scrum side, that has been dominating teams throughout the year, and to get set on their bum a couple of times when humiliated by the Crusaders was huge up to the Crusaders. It's going to hurt, and I think you just got to keep learning. You can say we could have, would have, should have done various things. And I guess Clayton, Roger, Hilly and co, Graham, they'll be going through that with fine-tooth comb and bitterly disappointed. Jono, he's been involved. He's coming in. He would have learned a lot from that as well, coming back into Super Rugby. So they'll, it's hurting at the moment, but they'll be the better for it to lose 3 in a row.
And they'll be frustrated as hell that they just didn't give Damian the chances, did they? And again, I can't be bothered with any kind of talk about choke or not performing at these kind of levels. It's just moments in games, and but it's moments where you need your best players to play their best, but you've got to deliver them a platform to be able to play their best. And it just, he just didn't really have any of that chance, did he, Damian?
No, and we'll, perhaps some of the decisions weren't the right decisions, the way the game was going. We needed to try and unfold and get a little bit more ghost momentum in the game. But it's gone now. That opportunity doesn't exist anymore. So we've just got to suck it up as much as it hurts. Being a real Chiefs advocate, fan, supporter, and I've really enjoyed commentating, with the radio this year, because that's just been so exciting, the game they've played. And I think if we've got to win a final, we've got to go back to your DNA and play with that just fearless abandonment, that things will happen if we do what we're good at. We just got kicked off the park on Saturday night, and perhaps we have to learn that if we want to play to their natural DNA, we've got to be better at recognising how teams have got to come at us to try and shut us down.
How do you get over that hump again? That's the first question I asked. How do you do it? What do you do? Do you bury this next year, or do you use this as fuel for motivation next year?
Oh, look, you got to keep learning. You don't want to just pretend it didn't happen. It did happen, and you've got to feel the hurt. Sometimes you've got to lose a fair few times. Toddy Miller, has a great analogy. People say, "God, I can't believe you made an All Black, little fella." And he goes, "Yeah, through my footy career, I got left out of more teams than I made, but I just keep persevering." And then all of a sudden, he got his break down in the Waikato, and he's an All Black. So it's just that perseverance. And you think about all the other teams that didn't make it to the final. Some of them that didn't even make it to the playoffs. What's their mentality going to be? Are we good enough? We know we're good enough. We've got there. We've just got to work on our rugby intellect, on how teams are going to come in at the Chiefs and how they're going to play. I won't say they were negative, the Crusaders. They were just really good at what they did, and they played to their strengths, and probably, you wouldn't say perfectly, but better than the Chiefs played to theirs on the.
It's gutting you, isn't it, eh? It's gutting you.
Yeah, and I really feel for Clayton, because he's been good. And when he started with, it was a team that was sort of battling after the highs of the 2012, 2013, back to back. So they'd floundered along a little bit. He just found his groove, and much like Rennes did with his team, he picked a lot of Neville nobodies, and has brought them through and turned them into world-class players. And you've seen the emergence, of the likes of Tupu Vai, and we've seen the leadership and Luke Jacobson evolve. We've seen D-Mac start to settle on that 10 jersey, and he's getting better and better in that role. So it is disappointing, but I don't think they go and poke their bottom lip out and have a huff, and storm off into the summer with their tail between their legs. I think they hold their heads high. They can keep building. Yeah, it'll be that that pebble under your towel on the sand on the beach that's going to annoy you all summer. But the great thing about a lot of these players, they're coming back, and they've got a chance of redemption. And I think that's a big motivating fact. They know that they've got the sort of the platform set. They've got to have a new voice, and Jono is going to be leading them, Jono Gibbs, and I think they'll be there or thereabouts again, and they know what they've done to get to the final, and they know how to get to a final, and now they're just going to work on how do we win one.
DSPN.